So guys, we got a cheeseburger here. Let's see. That's a lot. Things in here. Yeah. Yeah. Alright though. Alright. be right back, guys. Another burger, guys. Nobody's watching my stream. That sucks. Alright, my phone. Okay, I hope everybody watches my stream. So I got another burger. OMG, looks so fucking good. Nom 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 nom. Oh. And I got water here. Shit, I'll pick that up later. Damn, they put too much salad on this. Yeah.
You open the garage door and I'll walk out.
Yeah.
Yeah, do my on the phone. I can't open the door.
Yeah. Open the garage.
Yeah, and then I'll pull it down. There you go.
Go. Everybody's in the close. Yeah, that's it. I finished my burger. Yeah, I finished my bottle. Alright, I'm back. And that was a good burger. Let me go on YouTube right now. Alexa, YouTube.
Getting YouTube from Roku.
Alexa, turn up to 40 on Roku.
Okay.
Oh, come on. I'm barely live streaming.
There's some fries over there if you want some.
Alright. Alright, back, guys. The hell? Alright.
You've been in the Lord of the Rings fandom, especially the movie fandom, for a while. You will have heard tale of marathons. And no, I'm not talking about running 26.2 miles, because I think that would actually kill me. I'm talking about Lord of the Rings marathons, where you sit down, ideally with some good company, and watch all 3 of the movies in a row. And this might seem like a relatively simple prospect, you know, you just sit down and turn on the movies, but I would argue that there is a right way and a wrong way to do this type of event. So today I'm going to walk you through my process for hosting a Lord of the Rings marathon and tell you how I make a Hobbit-worthy feast while still being able to sit down and watch probably 90% of the movies. And my favorite way to do this is with the 7 Hobbit meals as outlined by Pippin in the Fellowship film. Yes, that is a lot of food, but you're going to be there for 12 hours, and I found that frequent, very tasty meals help keep everyone feeling pretty lively. And because I am a little bit crazy, I decided that I would pair each of those meals with a custom drink. And because 7 meals is a lot to plan, I really recommend finding somewhere to keep all of your ideas, inspiration, and recipes, such as Milanote. Milanote is the sponsor of today's video, and it is a super easy to use, super versatile tool for organizing any of your creative projects. And incidentally, it's a great place to start when you're gathering your thoughts for an event like a Lord of the Rings marathon. So today I'm going to show you the board that I used to plan this party. As you can see, Milanote acts as a really easy way to gather your thoughts, including images, little inspiration color swatches, notes, and checklists. And then if we go into this mood board here, we can find each of those 7 meals outlined with all of my ideas, combining images, notes, and links to get everything in one convenient place. For each meal, I kept notes on what sort of vibe I wanted it to have, like simple and sweet for breakfast, and light and savory for luncheon. Then I was able to use Milanote's column function to group those notes with images for inspiration or links for recipes that I wanted to use. You can even make up documents within Milanote itself, where I was able to collect all of my recipes for this entire marathon. Here we have my other board, where I put together some thoughts on table settings for this event. I have some color swatches to establish the vibe, and I can bring in plenty of pictures to capture the sort of cozy, eclectic look that I wanted. I wanted it to be warm, but with some delicate touches, like this beautiful cake I was planning on making. I also wanted to include some things to set the mood in the room, like these fairy lights. It's really easy to put links in for products that I'm considering buying too. A super easy to use tool here is their web clipper, which allows you to use one click to take images and videos off the internet and put them directly on your board. Like this Shire ambiance video that I'll be able to use to set the mood as guests arrive. And my favorite part is probably their checklist function, where you can use it to make to-do lists like I did here, making sure that I have each of those meals sorted out. Or you can use it as a shopping list, like I did on my mood board, so you can have everything in one easy-to-reference place. Plus, if anybody is going to be helping you with this marathon, you can share the board with them so that they can see all of your inspiration, images, and recipes. Milanote was incredibly useful for this project because of its versatility. It lets me pair up recipes that I found with actual images of the dishes so that I could figure out how I wanted to plate it, and it helped me stay organized and on task throughout the planning process. But even if you're not planning a Lord of the Rings marathon, Milanote can be used to organize any of your creative projects, including art, animation, photography, and writing. In fact, I found out at the marathon that one of my friends uses Milanote to design theatrical productions, and he really swears by it. If you want to get your creative projects organized, you can try out Milanote via the link in my description for a completely free account with no time limit. I really, really appreciate Milanote sponsoring this video, and I appreciate all of you for checking out my sponsored links when I have them. So before we talk about specifically what I made for each of these 7 meals, as well as some other recommendations, if you don't want to go as hardcore as I did, I'm going to give you a couple of tips and tricks that I have for planning a huge event like this while still being able to enjoy it yourself. And to do that, I'm going to have to reveal to you guys something very, very personal to me, and that is my spreadsheet. And on this spreadsheet, you will find find a minute-to-minute guide of the entire 13 or 14 hours of that event, where I listed out everything from waking up to the 6 different times that I had to preheat the oven. And I know, this probably looks a little bit absurd.
Lady, you're boring. You're boring. Okay, you're boring. There's a lot of boring people on YouTube. It's better than to be funny and not lame. Alexa, search for Hobbiton.
Getting the Hobbit, an unexpected journey from Roku.
Alexa, search for Hobbiton.
Getting the Hobbit, an unexpected journey from Roku.
No. My God. Are you stupid, Alexa? Alexa's stupid.
Well, as you probably guessed, today is Hobbiton Day. I am here with Luke. Luke is a Hobbiton movie set extraordinaire. Luke, I am just so pumped to be here right now.
Likewise. That makes 2 of us.
So Luke is going to show us around. Luke, tell us a little bit. Oh my gosh, I'm just going to keep looking at this. You guys, just look at this as Luke tells us. So tell us a bit about Hobbiton.
Well, first of all, this is the actual film set that was used in the Hobbit trilogy, built in exactly the same place as the Lord of the Rings as well. So that alone makes it very special. It's the only one of its kind. They certainly don't make film sets like this anymore.
They do not.
So it's very much a privilege to be part of a team that gets to look after this legacy. And as we speak today, it's about 12 acres in size. We've got 44 Hobbit holes, 2 of which are real. And that doesn't include the Mill House and the Green Dragon. So yeah, we're getting bigger as the years go by.
And see all of it. And I couldn't help but notice one of the first things that stuck out to me is we have actual smoke rising from the chimneys there. So you've actually got some fires going. That's in the Hobbit holes that we can actually go in, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll definitely be seeing that a little bit later on the tour. Let's go on an adventure.
So this is the opening shot of Hobbiton from An Unexpected Journey. After Bilbo has given us his little prologue about his adventure with the dwarves, the camera pans up and that's the view. One of the main features that attracted the filmmakers here was the large pine tree.
Yes.
They needed something that would provide the backdrop to Bilbo's 111th birthday. So that was flagged quite early on when they were doing their read-through of the script. But when they discovered this farm, not only was the tree in the right place, you have the rising hill, and then you have this pond that's been here since the 1940s, and it was just meant to be. It's all in the right place.
So this is where people will enter when they come on a tour here at Hobbiton, and this is a very famous location in the films.
Yeah. As you'll remember, this is where Gandalf and Frodo rode into Hobbiton for the very first time. I have to say the view hasn't changed. 20 years.
Fantastic.
This is also, of course, where a young Bilbo famously came running through our village, deciding that he was ready for an adventure after all. And he has Thorin's contract in his hand, and he came running all the way through here
Yeah.
to get these off.
Actually, I'm gonna do one thing real quick. I'm going on an adventure!
This is the home of Mr. Proudfoot,
Ah!
when who watches Gandalf ride past.
Should have a broom here, so, you know,
Yeah.
for him to sweep. I didn't even notice the chicken in there, too. Well, that's fantastic. Even in the exteriors, there's just so much thought that goes into this.
Well, the art department had a huge amount of fun inventing backstories and daily routines for every Hobbit character that they imagined living here. And they would always go back to the books too. Yeah. So if Tolkien gave you a reference or a character, that was their jumping off point. And if he didn't tell us something, then the art department used that as an open brief to fill in the blanks. And if you were lucky enough to be a Hobbit extra,
Yeah.
you were able to wander around, open and close the doors, and
Wow.
live out your best Hobbit life.
So do you know each of these houses? Who lives in each of these houses?
To a degree. So as I say,
How many houses are there total? I should ask that.
44.
44?
44, yeah. No two are the same either. They're all completely individual and unique in the way that they were designed. And the position of each house will indicate the status of each character.
Okay, yeah.
So we have a saying here, the higher up the hill you live, the wealthier you become as a hobbit. And so that was followed through from concept work right the way through to handing over the finished set to the cast and crew. And they just gave them all the storytelling tools that they needed to make it real.
And of course, we have Bag End up at the top of the hill.
So film sets by nature are artificial.
Yeah.
With Hobbiton, it is largely real, although there are a few things such as the moss and the lichen growing here.
Oh, so this is fake.
Yeah, a lot of this is wood chips, glue, paint. They did try and use things like yogurt to speed up the aging process. Some parts of the set are now so old that we are having the real thing growing in its place. But it's a really nice touch, and it's a subconscious detail. Hobbiton has been here for centuries.
Yeah, I would have never have guessed that this is artificial wear and tear. It looks totally real.
So as you know, hobbits are a lover of all things that grow.
Yeah.
And the gardeners who work here in real life have the privilege of being able to take home any of the fruits and vegetables that you see growing here. Yeah. Smell this.
Oh,
It's a lemon verbena.
lemon. Okay, that's what I. Wow.
So we have grapes growing around, tobacco, potatoes, and also, my personal favorite, we have nasturtiums, which are mentioned by Tolkien in books. That was one of the first things I noticed when I came here as a fan of the books.
Yeah.
I just loved the fact that the gardeners were so attentive to the source material that they put that in there. The filmmakers recognized that the hobbits weren't trying to save the world.
Yes.
They were trying to save the Shire. And so if an audience doesn't believe that Hobbiton is a real environment, they're not going to invest in that journey. So I think it was very important to the filmmakers that they absolutely made this feel credible, grounded, authentic. And that was the brief. You know, authenticity every step of the way. And so you believe, as did the cast members, that Middle-earth was a real place. And Hobbiton is, you know, a monument to that, I think. It's pretty special. Yeah.
Obviously, you have a ton of Hobbit houses here, and they're different scale ones. So you kind of get a sense of, you know, being a Hobbit in the Shire, or maybe being a wizard visiting.
Exactly. So the small scale doors that we have here were really for the benefit of Sir Ian McKellen. Anytime you see Gandalf riding through the set, the small doors kept in at the right scale. Even the bricks and the timber and the fences had to be fabricated at the matching scale.
Yeah.
And all of the vegetation as well would have been cut and trimmed at more or less the right size so that you kind of accepted what you saw on camera.
Okay, so we've got something cooking over here. So what's the story with this particular Hobbit hole?
Well, have a look at the mailbox here.
Okay.
They'll usually give you a clue as to what each hobbit might do spare rods hanging up above the door here. We have some fish wrapped up ready to be sold at markets, and then we have our smoked eel and smoked fish hanging up over here.
Wow, okay. That's one thing, I've learned over the years about the folks at Weta. They put so much detail into things that are never seen on camera, and it's really for the benefit of the actors. This is the home of the Sackville Bagginses.
So what I love about this is every morning you can imagine that Lobelia wakes up and she walks down the garden lane, opens the gate, and then she turns around and she's constantly reminded of where she
That she does not live in Bag End, up on the top of the hill.
So you can see we have our bee boxes, and the set decorations obviously continue with that theme. The windows have been dressed up.
Got the little smoker next to the
Oh,
window
you're
there.
watching it.
And real honey.
What? That doesn't damage it to sit out in the sun like that? Interesting.
We can always invite the awnings to come out here and
I honestly, I expected these to be affixed to the table, but you can actually pick up these jars, and yeah, there's real honey in there.
a lot of the jams and the preservatives that you'll see out on set are real, just because they last so long. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Remember this, bellbird honey. That will come into play later on.
We've got kind of an offshoot here. You called this the Hobbit subdivision. So what's the story behind this?
Well, this wasn't here on Lord of the Rings, so we only had 39 Hobbit holes on the original set. We have 5 extra here. This is a hangover from when Guillermo del Toro was attached to the Hobbit films.
Really?
And we're told that it was actually partly his idea to experiment with the original set. But unfortunately, this area doesn't really make it into the finished films until right at the end of the Battle of the Five Armies. And there's one brief shot of Bilbo walking home with his 14th share of the treasure, and he discovers that Bag End is being auctioned off. And he bumps into his neighbor just here on the corner, and our subdivision graces the screen for no more than 28 seconds.
Wow. So there you go. For those of you who, like me, have been dying to get any kind of glimpse behind the scenes, anything about the Guillermo del Toro Hobbit, there you go. There's a little slice of it. This is like holy water. This is Shire water, guys. It tastes so much better than regular American water. So much better. Am I getting taller? Oh my gosh, that would be... You're the short one. Got the local baker. This is where Bilbo would come down and buy his baked goods, I'm sure. Oh, I can actually move these. You can actually play with the bread. Wow, I'm kind of surprised. Again, I expected a lot of this to be kind of nailed down, like this knife. I noticed you nailed down the knife. That's a smart move. Yes.
We like to have a lot of faith in our visitors. But we draw a line somewhere.
Yes, that's good. I feel like that's a good place to draw the line. Can I interest you in some cheese? Maybe a bit of eggs? And this is another chimney that we have smoke coming out of. Now this isn't an interior that you can walk in, so what's the behind the scenes magic here? Do you have an employee just sitting in there feeding a fire all day?
We have a team amongst the set deck crew who diligently go around the film set and they top up all of the smokers that we have. So we do burn real wood chips, so you'll smell it as you walk through the set. It was slightly different during filming. They would have used oil burning machines because the frame rate of cameras might have had difficulty picking up the density of smoke.
Okay.
But we like to use the real thing because the tour is about being authentic.
Yeah.
So it's about your senses as much as anything else.
So we've got the party tree, of course, the green dragon over in Bywater.
You can see
This
why the
is,
filmmakers fell in love
oh
with
my
it.
gosh, like you could just stand here all day, I think.
And even 20 years on, there's still no power lines, no modern buildings.
Wow. Here it is. We're at the top of the hill. We really have moved on up. The one and only Bag End. Wow. We've got the sign. No admittance except on party business. The green door. Oh my gosh. This is amazing.
How does it
It's
feel to
iconic.
be standing here right now?
This is incredible. Like we have Bilbo's mailbox here, which opens. That's pretty fantastic. Well, that's fun. We've got Bilbo's pipe and book out.
So historically, there has never been a tree growing on this hill.
Okay.
And when the filmmakers scouted the property, they briefly considered the pine tree on the corner here as the location of Bag End, but they changed their minds, and this required the crew to go and find a real oak tree for the Lord of the Rings. So they brought a 26-ton tree from a nearby property, they cut it up into several pieces, and then they bolted it back together again,
Wow.
and they wired on hundreds of thousands of artificial leaves and acorns in their place, and it was held up by these high tensile cables. So when you see Sir Ian McKellen riding up here on the horse cart, that is a 26-ton tree leaning over the top of it.
Oh my word.
Now,
So now this is obviously not a reformed tree. So what did you guys do to
Well,
make this?
the brief for The Hobbit was to rebuild Bag End permanently,
Yes.
and also the filmmakers had to bear in mind that this was now 60 years earlier than The Lord of the Rings. So the tree had to reflect that timescale.
So it's a bit smaller.
A little bit smaller, a little bit younger in appearance. It was built and constructed down in Wellington and transported out here into multiple pieces. The whole thing is essentially made out of steel, expanding foam, fiberglass, silicone, and again, there's about 250,000 synthetic leaves on there.
Wow.
And the birds nest in there all year round, and they don't care.
Really?
Yeah, they're quite happy with it.
Birds are quite happy with the fake tree.
Yeah. So this was something that was also thought about during filming. Every pathway leads to somewhere. It could be a neighbor's house, it could be an apple tree, it could be a mailbox, a water well, because you want to believe that the hobbits have daily routines. They do the same thing every day. And so our greens team would have to wear down the grass, cut the pathways in, and make sure that it connected to each and every house.
And you mentioned we've got at the end of the road, we've got the mailboxes. So those are the mailboxes that correspond with this row of houses.
Correct. There's actually a dedicated group of fans online who have taken photographs of every mailbox that we have on our film set, and they've put them all in chronological order. And they've numbered where each one belongs, either according to the films or the books. And that's actually been a very useful guide for us.
Wow.
Yeah. So traditionally, to celebrate May, spring, people would grab hold of a ribbon and they would dance in circles, and you'd have one group going in one circle and the other group going in the opposite way, and you would dance and braid.
So it kind of braids. Yeah. Very cool.
So it's a nice throwback to the English roots of Hobbiton.
Yeah. And we've got on the hill, looks like we've got some lanterns.
Yeah. Modeled after the ones that appear during Bilbo's 111th birthday.
Yeah.
And speaking of Bilbo's birthday,
We've got the party tree in all its glory.
yeah. And so not only was the tree in the perfect spot,
Yes.
you've got the rising hill where you can imagine Bilbo lives. The only thing that was missing is where we are standing used to be an enormous marsh that ran through the entire paddock. Yeah. So when we had the New Zealand Army come out here, they did a lot of the drainage work for us, and then they filled it in and created the field so that the cast and crew could utilize it for
Yeah.
filming.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we've got some craftsmanship going on at this one.
So this is the home of the carpenter's house.
Okay.
We see some traditional tools here. This is a pole lathe, and this is what they would use to turn the wood to carve symmetric circles and get that.
Yeah. Bedposts, it looks like maybe some,
Or a chair, so
Chair,
they can
yeah.
sit down and while away the afternoon.
oh, and we've got tools over here as well. We've got some hammers. Oh, these are actually, I can pick these up. Oh,
Looks like there's a
oh, there are
Work in progress.
Yeah, look at that. Oh, that's a fun one right there.
It's almost a dwarf pick, isn't
That
it?
does look like very dwarvish. That's why I immediately
You
gravitated
gravitated towards it.
Now this, of course, looks like we're at number 3 Bagshot Row.
Yeah, the second most famous address that we have here at Hobbiton, the home of the Gamgee family.
So this is the site of the very last scene of The Return of the King, where Sam comes home to Rosie and his
Yeah.
2 kiddos.
Spoiler alert.
So yeah, spoiled. Sorry, guys.
You've had 20 years.
Yeah.
If I was to live anywhere, it would be Bagshot Row. Everyone tells me they want to move into Bag End, but it's too far to walk to the pub. I think this is the hidden gem. It's only a 5-minute walk around the lake. You're at the bottom of the hill, and yet you get the sun all day long. This is why the gardens are so lush.
Prime spot.
Yeah,
And Sam would know the good spot for gardening.
that's right.
Got it right here.
Now, do you remember the bellbird honey
Yes.
that you saw earlier on? So, a little bit of world building here. This is the home of the Proudfoot family,
Okay.
and it turns out that they like to make their own honey and their own mead. And it's branded as Proudfoot's bellbird honey.
Look at that. And we've got the fill your own jar.
And so, like everything else on the film set, there's been a background narrative generated for the interior of these hobbit holes because it has to be believable. You have to believe that there really is a family of hobbits that live here, and everything has to be consistent. And so, once again, the art department dreamed up an entire industry and backstory and daily routines and hobbies for the whole family that you'll see inside.
Wow. So we're about to go into the house of the Proudfoots.
Proud feet.
Proud feet. What? Oh my word. Wow. We're in a hobbit hole right now. This is wild. Marigold Proudfoot. 1 Bagshot Row.
And you can also see the pikefish, and this is the fishing rod that caught it. It was a legendary fight.
Yeah, that's cool.
And you see we have our trophy shelf over here.
Prettiest piglet in the Shire. 3rd place, it says.
Yeah. And at least they got best bee song.
Best bee song? What is a bee song?
I always wondered that myself.
Is it like your bees sound the best? Or
I
is
think
it
so.
okay?
I think that's where they're leaning.
Nice little study. Oh, and we have, this is chapter 1 of The Hobbit.
So we talked about how much would it make sense if the hobbits had a
Copies of the
reproduction
red, yeah.
of the red book. So again, we went back to the source material, and we actually found that although the original was passed down through to Eleanor and her heirs, we know that King Elisar requested a reproduction be made.
Yes.
And so we kind of figured, well, maybe that's where all the other copies come from.
Yeah.
Now Bilbo and Frodo's story is the stuff of legend, and all the hobbits like to read about it. It's imagined that because the Proudfoots love Bilbo and Frodo's story, that some dwarf merchants came through the Shire one day and they started selling some pretty dubious wares, which the Proudfoots may or may not have fallen for. So apparently this is a dragon's egg.
A dragon egg, and we have Smaug's toenail.
Yeah. But of course there hasn't been a dragon in these parts for 1,000
years. So on the family tree here, so this is actually the actor who played Odo Proudfoot in the films. We've got the concept art piece, I presume, or sketch of him.
Yeah, so this is Noel Appleby, the actor who played him. He's actually credited as Everard Proudfoot. in
Oh,
the
really?
films. Yeah, but he's clearly meant to be Odo from the
Yes.
book, so we've reflected this in his name title here. But a lot of the work that's been done here has been extrapolated from the appendices from the
Yes.
book. And again, that was always the jumping off point. If Tolkien could give us a clue, then we could use that to fill in the gaps. So it all links. Even Linda Baggins, Bilbo's aunt, you might see some of her effects around the house.
Wow. Oh, we get some Hobbit bunk beds. Look at that. Oh my goodness. That is fantastic.
We can even see where the hobbits keep their toys.
Fruit and nuts of the Shire, birds of the Shire.
And there's also the first knots that they've made as well.
Look at that.
Oh, that's cool.
Now, is this
We
not
have
a cozy bedroom?
This is fantastic. So we've got a hanging bassinet here
Yeah.
for a little baby hobbit. Oh my goodness.
So the Proudfoots have 3 children, and we have Sancho and Marigold, who wore these crowns on their wedding day.
Wow.
So they keep them up there as a reminder. And down here, we have Sancho's drawer with his little map of the Far Downs. And this is a present intended for Marigold, which he hasn't given to her yet.
Oh my goodness. Wow. What is long drop?
So it's a compostable drop.
Oh, I see.
A little bit different to the plumbing hinted at by Bilbo in The
Yes.
Hobbit, but I guess social hierarchy.
Yes, we're a little bit farther down the hill, so
Yeah.
we don't get the fancy plumbing. Now, what is the spoon in the shavings for? Do you put that on top after you've done your business? I guess.
I think this is the part of the tour that you need to figure out for yourself.
Figure it out for myself.
So first of all, there's a hobbit house within a hobbit house,
Wow.
and I'm told that the music that is on this sheet may or may not correspond to some of the music by Howard Shore.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, that is fun.
It's a very nice detail.
Very nice.
And there's heaps of musical instruments all over
Yes.
the place.
I
too.
love the tree roots that we have going through the entire house is a
Yeah.
really cool feature as well.
So we've even got jars of pipeweed,
Oh yes.
and throughout
So
the
this
house,
is Old Toby. We've
Yeah.
got a jar of Old Toby.
and you'll see other brands such as Longbottom Leaf, Southern Star, but of course Old Toby is the best of the best.
It depends on who you ask. Now, Bilbo says Old Toby, whereas Pippin says Longbottom
Yes.
Leaf. Yeah. Or is it Mary? Mary says Longbottom Leaf, I believe.
It's hard to tell in the films because they both seem to enjoy it.
They
as
both
much
seem
as
to
the
enjoy it
Hobbit
very
does.
much. Yes. So this is a pretty impressive pantry, I have to say.
Fully stocked.
Now, what's your favorite detail or favorite food item that we have in here in the pantry?
Well, there's a couple of things. Potatoes,
Potatoes, yes.
for one thing. Mushrooms,
Of course.
key staples of a hobbit's diet, and also the Proudfoots even have their own scrumpiest best perry.
How about that?
So they're a very industrious family.
And they have a bread shaped like a fish. That's a very
Yeah, I think this is a fish pie
a fish. Oh.
because they're saving it for feast day, and you might see some adverts around the house that there's going to be a feast day happening somewhere within the village.
Really cool. Oh, and of course, ale options here.
Well, this one is a bit of a deep cut reference because the
Golden Perch, yes.
That's another inn, isn't it?
Yes, it is, and it's a favorite of anglers in the Shire. Yes. Wow. Not far from the Green Dragon, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, and you can imagine, of course, you know, the hobbits get their daily delivery of stout from the back of the Green Dragon, and it gets parked at the back here. And we have more of
Their honey, yes. Oh, that's fantastic. I love that you have the Golden Perch. That's makes me so happy.
We have some corn flour, which I imagine comes from Hobbiton's old mill.
Yes, that would make
It's the only
sense.
place you can
Yes.
get. Yeah, there's just so much to see. And I really love our little touch of New Zealand.
That the glowworms. So this is their little well that they would get water from. I love that it's inside the house. That's so cool.
Yeah.
This looks a lot like Sam's box that he gets from Galadriel.
It's actually a double reference.
Okay.
It's based on the salt box that Sam carries in the Two Towers Extended Edition.
Yes.
Which itself is a reference to the box with the mallow seed that is given
And
to
the
him by
soil.
Galadriel.
Yeah. Oh, that is cool. We've got a great view of the Green Dragon through the kitchen window. How fun is that?
And the tap works too.
Oh,
Which is
we've
all
got
they
it.
asked.
Look at that. More Shire water. I love the mushrooms of the Shire. So is this a safety thing?
I would imagine so. So if it's blue, it's not for you. Probably a good warning for the Proudfoot children.
Yes.
And then, of course, you can bring yourself up to speed on all the latest Shire gossip, the weather forecast.
Wow.
There's even a mayoral election happening.
So we've got, this is a full-on Hobbit newspaper, The Shire Reckoning. I like that. That's a good title. So here we have a Hobbit study.
So this is where the Proudfoots will tally up their annual yield.
Okay.
Any seeds that they've harvested, they will dry and store in their trays. They'll weigh them on the scales. And then I think just behind you, they'll packet the seeds and get them ready for their clients.
Wow.
They will sell them at market.
Then we've got kind of a little notice board kind of thing here.
Quiz night of the Green Dragon.
Oh, that sounds like a fun activity to do. We're now in the other Hobbit hole, so we've got a little bit different.
Yeah.
Well, not study, but this is like we've got a little library and
Yeah, and a trophy cabinet as well. So we have some mineral stones which have been collected from places which are locations around Hobbiton. So if you have the map of Hobbiton,
yes,
that corresponds with that.
we've got a little figure here.
Yeah, little hobbit.
Yeah.
And then you might recognize this leaf here.
Oh, is that's a mallard leaf?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
So the idea with the framed leaves and the bookcases is that the hobbits like to commemorate a fallen tree, or they will collect leaves that they might find, or they're gifted
Yes.
through their families or generations. So you'll see all of the tree framed around here.
Yeah. So we've got they're labeled with different types of trees. So these are samples from those trees. Wow.
Yeah.
So now what is this? That almost looks like a tomb.
It does. Again, the 2-foot family may have been subject to the same
Dwarven retailers.
Yes. There was a bit of a scam going through the Shire for a little while there. Yeah.
Oh, so we even got a quiver of arrows up here.
Yep. Out of the way of the reach of the children.
Yes. Yeah. Hobbit children, they'd be much shorter, so they can't reach up there. That's a good spot, parents. Keep your arrows up high.
I even love how the roots of the tree have broken through, but instead of cutting it out or changing it, the hobbits have worked with it, and they built their house. course, we have the mill.
Yeah. I love we have the mill going too. That's just constantly going. The sound is great, like a great background. And of course, we have the Green Dragon, where every
Okay,
car
guys, we're
finishes.
gonna have to end this
From
here.
my point of
So my
view,
phone's gonna die.
it's the
See you guys another time.
It is. It really is.
It's so special to walk through, and we're very grateful.